I was actually born with a cord wrapped around my neck, which caused medical issues, which, as you sort of like into that my mother was a narcissist. Well, to her, that wasn't good enough because I wasn't normal like the other kids, because the whole of my right side was affected and it was a lot weaker than my left. So I struggled to walk, and I was told that I may never walk. And if I did, I'll never ride a bike or run. And so she was constantly saying to me, oh, I wish you'd have died at birth. You're not normal. Why can't you be normal like the other kids? Nobody will ever love you. You'll never amount to anything. So I grew up hearing that on a day-to-day basis. And when I did learn to walk, I went back to the doctor, to the hospital, to see the consultant, and they were actually amazed that I didn't actually manage to learn to walk. And I was quite a determined little girl at the time. And he said, it's really great that you've learned to walk. We really are happy for you, but you're not going to be able to ride a bike. You're not going to be able to push the pedals around with your right leg, and you're not going to be able to hold the handlebar. And I can remember saying to them, with my hands on my hips, saying, I will, and I'll bring my bike in to show you. I thought, nobody's telling me I can't do anything.
Wow. So you had home, you had that determination from such a young age that this wasn't going to affect you. Yeah. That's amazing.
So we went back home. I was all happy in the car, but I noticed that my mum had gone really quiet, and I thought, I'm in trouble, because I'd learned from a really early age to pick up the signals from her. And when we got back home, my dad went off to work. He was a farmer, went off to work. And she said, go get changed, because I had my best clothes on, obviously, to go to the hospital. And when I came out of the room, she absolutely went mad at me, physically and verbally abusive, saying, how dare you show me up in front of the doctors? How dare you tell him he was wrong? And that, all the things that he just said to you. And that was when I completely went like that and changed. I can remember cowering, kind of having my head in my hands, trying to protect my head, thinking, I just need to stay small and not speak out, because that's too dangerous. And that completely changed. I then turned into very unconfident, scared little girl with no self-worth at all. And I grew up hearing every day that I was ugly, worthless, and I'd never amount to anything, and nobody would ever love me. And she specifically said, do not speak about your medical issues, because people will run away from you. Nobody will want to be even your friend if they know you've got medical issues, because she didn't want anybody to know about it, because that would spoil her perception of a perfect family in her eyes.
Right. So have you got any siblings, Brooke, or are you an only child?
Yeah, no, I've got an older brother who's 4 years older than me.
So I'm interested to know, how did your mother treat you said your brother?
Yeah.
Right. Who presumably didn't have any complications at birth. Yeah. Was she different with him?
Yeah, he was what's called the golden child. But what's interesting now, even though we're going to kind of, he's now in his 60, he's now 60, and she's now turned on him and is giving him the abuse that she used to give me, because she's got nobody else in her life. And with a narcissist, they need some sort of supply. So she's now attacking my brother and my sister-in-law, which is like very strange for my brother, because he's been like the golden child all his life, so to speak.
So how has that affected his relationship with your mother? Are they now?
They don't speak. They haven't spoke for over a year now.
They don't speak, and I'm going to guess that you don't have the greatest relationship with your mother either, based on what you just said.
No. When I started healing and got to the stage where I started to respond to her words and things that she used to say to me, rather than react, and she couldn't get any kind of reaction out of me, she decided to cut me off and made up an elaborate story of why that she needed to cut me off out of her life. And I haven't spoke to her for about 12 years now.
So do you know now, obviously, you've gone through this huge journey, right? And you're now in a place of strength. But looking back, do you have any idea why she was like that, or why she treated you like that? I mean, I understand that you had the complications at birth, but obviously that's no excuse. That wasn't your fault. That was out of your control. And I don't quite understand why that would make her turn against you anyway. Is there any indicators, or is there any, looking back with hindsight?
She had a really rough childhood, and her mother was a narcissist as well. So, and she was kind of like discarded as a child. And when she married my dad, all my dad ever wanted was a little girl, and I was like the apple of his eye. So there was a jealousy element, because my dad, absolutely adored me, and I adored my dad. So we had a really, really good relationship, and she didn't like that either. So she always used to say to me, oh, you're just a sport little brat, you know, you get anything out of your dad. And she didn't like the fact that I had a good relationship with my dad either, but it was because of like her childhood and her inner child wounds that she grew up with that created the narcissism in her, you know. And as we all know, if a narcissist isn't the center of attention, then, you know, they often have somebody to take it out on. And unfortunately, I was an emotional and physical punch bag as a child.